station is experiencing a state of emergency broadcast suspension. During this emergency broadcast suspension, the normal weather broadcast cycle, which typically provides outlooks on hazardous weather and weekly forecasts, has been suspended indefinitely. Instead, only messages related to the current state of emergency and statements from the United States government and Federal Emergency Management Agency will be broadcasted. Currently, a national emergency action notification is in effect for the entire United States, including Alaska, Hawaii, and U.S. territories, and will remain in effect until a national emergency action termination broadcast is issued. For those just joining the broadcast, this alert will be retransmitted shortly. This hour will be retransmitted shortly for listeners just now joining the broadcast. Please stand by. A dangerous meteorological situation occurring across the United States. Shelter in place immediately. The following message is transmitting at the request of the United States.
Government, the Federal Emergency Management Agency at the United Nations. This is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. At 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, a catastrophic event has reached an irreversible stage. Over the past months, an unknown force identified as Crash FM has infiltrated global communications, hijacking radio signals, television networks, and online broadcasts, compelling civilians to engage in high-speed, lethal crashes. What began as a series of reckless driving incidents has spiraled into an all-out global disaster, with over 500,000 confirmed fatalities and over 2 million injuries worldwide. Cities are in ruin, highways are death traps, and emergency response services have collapsed under the overwhelming scale of destruction. The United States government and the United Nations urge all civilians to seek immediate underground shelter. The safest locations are deep underground bunkers, basements, or any enclosed areas with no windows and no access to roads. Avoid vehicles at all costs. Do not drive. Do not approach parked cars, and do not respond to engine noises. Communication devices should remain off as Crash FM has been using intercepted broadcasts to influence behavior. If you hear an unfamiliar voice on any device urging you to race or crash, you must ignore it. Do not engage. Do not respond. Do not leave your shelter under any circumstances despite all countermeasures. Crash FM's influence has proven impossible to neutralize as a last resort. A full-scale bombardment of the United States has been authorized. Strategic missile strikes will commence within the next 30 minutes. The goal of this action is to sever Crash FM's control at its source, before it can extend its influence to the remaining continents. All remaining survivors must seek shelter immediately. The safest locations are deep underground bunkers, fortified basements, or any enclosed areas with no windows, no access to roads, and complete radio silence. If you are receiving this message, turn off all electronic devices. Crash FM's influence is spreading through intercepted transmissions, urging survivors to join the chaos. Do not listen. Do not respond. Do not leave your shelter.